Hello, hello, entrepreneurs. uh, this is not a singing lesson or a singing show. Hi, guys. So I'm a little late on the video I was talking about when I posted on Monday. So sorry about that. I intended to yesterday and then fire. Not an ideal way to get things done, but I got things done and now I am able to log on here and give you some neat information. So a little bit up front while I give people some time to see this or whatever. You're probably all having dinner. It's 5:30. So anywho, I'm going to be, I've gotten a lot of questions about the videos and everything. And so I have two different ways if you want to get more information, if you would like to get coaching and you would like to know about this and go deeper and get some training, some serious training on how to do, how to apply this science into your business and into your relationships that have to touch your business and have to do with your marriage and business. So either it's a partnership, like your business partners and you're married, or you're in business and you are married but they aren't in the business. There's still relationship stuff. And anyway, so I talk about that, and I talk about how to apply a lot of this cool brain stuff to your business. So there's two ways to do that. If you go to trepcouple.com, which I'll post the link after the video is over, then you can get that information on how to contact me. The course will be coming up here. I'm working on it right now. So the course will go into this, and it will have some serious coaching on that as well. So it's not just the quick and dirty or the surface stuff. This is really how to apply it and then get the training in your business with that. And so Russell's also dealing with that, working on that with me. And he's a systems genius, and he's really good at strategy. And I'm really good at the people part. So it's going to be a really amazing course and cover a lot of bases. And we've been entrepreneurs for since 2006 for me, and beyond that for Russell. He's a little older, so it's fine. But we have a combined over 30 years of experience, so it's pretty crazy. And I would not want to create something that didn't have value in it, or was a waste of time in any way, shape, or form. So that's why I think that this is going to be just so valuable and intensive. It's not going to be time intensive, but it is definitely going to be information that you've probably not been in contact with before. And if you have, maybe a bit here and there. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So the things I'm going to bring up today are foundational for understanding what I'm talking about for everything else. So when I talk about relationship stuff, when I talk about marketing for relationship, with relationship stuff, when I'm talking about anything like that, this is the foundation for all of it. So I thought you guys would really benefit from that today. And in the course, we can go like a mile deep on all this stuff. But I wanted to give you another because if you just know what I'm talking about today, if you just took that and went home, you would know a lot more than a ton of people. So you'd be already ahead of the game. All right, so that's a little bit of, I don't know, the lowdown. And so here we go. So don't judge my drawings. They're quick and dirty so that I can teach. But this is what we're going to be getting into today is Brainology. So the idea is that we all have just, one brain in our heads, and that's not true. You have 3 brains in your head. And it'll go backwards, but this is how I wrote it. And there's your reptilian brain, your mammalian brain, and your human brain. We'll start with reptilian because it is the oldest part of your brain. It's been around the longest, and reptiles have this brain. So that's why they call it that. And it's over here by, it's where your brainstem is. It's the fight or flight. And don't mind me while I just check my notes really quick because I want to get this all 100% accurate for you guys. But it's when we're talking about reptilian brain and fight or flight, you can think of, obviously, the fight or flight is, there's a saber-toothed tiger coming after me and I'm running or I'm fighting it or whatever. But we don't have those kinds of scenarios in our lives anymore. It's very rare to be chased by an animal and killed or whatever. So you have new issues that the psyche is working on that you think are fight and flight issues. And that's where, I don't know, the cool stuff happens. Let's just call it cool. But it's interesting and it can be really hard. But that's where the reptilian brain is creating these like scenarios that aren't really fight or flight, but you see them as fight or flight, and you behave in that as if that's the reality. So the reptilian brain, my mentor, she renamed it the robot brain. And that is because A, reptiles in your brain kind of was an idea that creeped her out. And B, robot brain is a better way to describe it because the functions of the reptilian brain are actually really great. They are designed to automate. And when we automate things and have things automated for us, it makes life easier. Also, the reptilian brain, or the robot brain, as we're going to call it. So let's just, what color? Robot brain. Automation and preservation. And preservation / survival isn't bad. It's very key. The way that comes about today is different than how it did thousands of years ago. We'll get into that, but there's the basis. Robot brain is about automation and preservation. It is the oldest part of your brain. So the really interesting thing about it is it's not discussing these things with you. It's just doing it. And a great example of that is, say you have a cocktail and you're fine, and your reptilian brain's like, okay, one, that's fine. You have another one, and that brain is like, that's a bit more. And you have maybe 3 or 4, depending on your tolerance, and you black out or you start to shut down. The robot brain is not discussing this with you. It is just going to try and save your life and make you stop consuming the alcohol. You might be poisoned. You might be over poisoning yourself. We need the liver to have a chance to catch up. So just, you're out. We're not discussing this with you. You're welcome. This is a very old part of the brain doing its job. That's not a bad thing. So that's its function, and that's the idea of the robot brain. On next is the mammalian brain. This is what my mentor calls my mentor, who I've mentioned a few times. Her name is Dr. Julie Helmrich. She's an amazing triple PhD clinical psychologist and has a huge heart for entrepreneurs. And I've been learning from her for a few years now. And so when I bring her up, this is who I'm talking about. All right, so mammalian brain is the scientific title for that part of the brain, but she renamed it the puppy brain because it helps to, it's where the emotions are. So when you see a movie and you're touched by something, or you're moved by a piece of music or whatever, art has a lot to do with that part of the, that art can trigger that part of the brain. It's easy to think of a puppy like, oh, and so that's the emotions. It's the limbic system, right? But it's emotions, and this is where story and memory are also really strong and powerful and stored. So story in marketing is incredibly powerful, because why work against the brain or try to work around it when you can work with it? So using story that we're already hardwired to take in, process, and not fight, why not work with that in your branding and your communication? Story is so powerful. So when I had made that previous post on Monday about stories you're telling yourself, it's going to have to do, this is the beginning of that. You have to trust that the science is out to help you in this case. And story is already hardwired in there. Why fight the brain when we can just work with it and understand it better and use it to put gas in the tank rather than try to be driving in sand, which I feel like that's when you're trying to find these crazy hacks to get around your brain and it's not really working. You're working against the brain. You're trying to outsmart the brain. Just work with it. It's been around a while and it's going to be okay. So that's the mammalian brain, or what we're going to nickname the puppy part of the brain. That's emotions, limbic system. This is the reptilian robot brain. There's some new folks that have just joined. So robot, reptilian part of the brain, oldest part of the brain, mammalian puppy, that is the emotional side where story is really strong. Also, I believe I forgot to mention, reptilian part of the brain is the strongest part of the brain. It's a very powerful system. Whereas the neocortex, this is the human brain, or what my mentor nicknamed the Vulcan brain. That's like the most recent, neocortex. And we love the neocortex. We are focusing on it. We're studying it. We're always, and because the neocortex, the human brain, is where we do all our thinking and our projecting and visions about what are we going to do, and planning and strategy. For those of you who love to create spreadsheets, this is where it's all happening in the neocortex. So it's a great, fun, awesome part of the brain. We love it so much we named it human brain part of the brain. But it is a great part of the brain. It thinks about the future. So speaking of that, this is a really cool thing to know about these parts of the brains. This part of the brain is thinking about the future. This part of the brain, the puppy brain or mammalian brain, is thinking about the present. It's always in the present. And then the reptilian robot brain is always thinking about the past. And I don't mean literally it's always thinking about it, but when you have an issue that's going on in the robot brain, it's like, well, it's because of something that happened in the past. We've learned from that, and this is why we're protecting you today. And then this is happening to me now. This is my emotion right now. Now. And then this is, what am I going to do? How am I going to make that money? How am I going to grow this thing? How am I going to talk to that person? And that's where all that's going on. So future, present, and past, all very vital. So the cool part is, instead of just thinking about this part of the brain or the oldest part of the brain or whatever, think about them all logging on and working together. That is where you give someone rocket fuel to go fast, is when all three parts of the brain are working together. That's where change really happens. So you're having an issue. You can't seem to get past this thing. You log on all three of those parts of the brain and you are going somewhere. Change is occurring in that reality where the three parts of the brain are all working together. There is a system for doing that. Change. There are 8 steps to change, and I will get into that in another video because that is like a really in-depth thing to talk about. But I wanted to give you this bit of brainology first so that you could see. Basically, I'm making an argument for the science and how this applies to making your life so much better. And I'm only making that argument because I've been there, and I still have things I work on, but it's so much easier knowing this science. And I feel like I would be incredibly selfish to keep it to myself. So I want entrepreneurs to know this also, because I believe entrepreneurs will save the world. I feel like we're the only people on the planet that see a problem and look for a solution. We're not complaining about it. We're not like, blah, blah, blah. We're listening to people and we're like, okay, I figured, okay, what if like, entrepreneurs are just such amazing people, and they're a different breed. Not everybody is like this, but I do believe, on the other hand, that everybody could be an entrepreneur if they wanted to. It is not impossible. It's not something that you're just born with. You can learn to do it. And so I just adore entrepreneurs. I am an entrepreneur. And this is why I want to share this science with you, because if you could be a more skilled and powerful entrepreneur, you are making the world a better place. And so I feel like this is my little way of helping make the world a better place by strengthening you and encouraging you. So with that, this is the little bit of Brainology. I'm going to look over this to see if I am forgetting anything that I wanted to share about it. So the neocortex, like I said, the robot part of the brain is the strongest, and the neocortex is the weakest. I don't mean it's weak as in it's not powerful, or it just the energy it takes to process and how easily it can shut down when something else takes over. So for example, when and I talked about this in a previous video, when you get flooded, which is you're having an argument with someone and they're saying things and you're just like, and you see red. And I was talking about the pulse oximeter, and your beats per minute are over 100, and like basically the neocortex, this, I don't mean literally all of it, but the logical part of your brain shuts down for 20 minutes, and this guy takes over because his job is to protect you. And even an argument can be seen as a fight or flight situation. And so when you know this, and say you're in one of those dialogues with somebody, you can actually say, you know what? Okay, this is nuts. I need to go take a walk. Just give me 20 minutes. You'd be surprised at what a world of good that can do. It gives you that 20 minutes for that logical part of the brain to log back on, the Vulcan part of the brain that you want in these conversations with you. You definitely want it. So if it's logged off because something is taken over, this guy, don't fight it. Work with it. Give it the 20 minutes that it's going to take anyways. So in that 20 minutes, you could just be screaming and losing your mind and going crazy. Or you could take that 20 minutes, take a walk, get a fresh perspective, let the Vulcan brain log back on. Boom, you're good to go. That's how you work with all three parts of the brain. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you guys for watching. I will have this available for replay. And if you would like to learn more about this, you can go to trepcouple.com, join our email list, and I will give you more awesome information like this, and you will get this video automatically. So it's a whole series. I believe this is the 5th or 6th video, and it'll be coming up in your email if you log on and get your email newsletter. So I will post all that, and I will log off, and I hope you have a great evening. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.